The Rams absolutely crushed my Chicago Bears 42-21. Here are the numbers, by the way, on how bad this run defense is. Take a sip of coffee if you want to. 29 carries, 258 yards total for the Rams. Zac Stacy in the first half, and then he was injured. 12 carries, 87 yards. An undrafted rookie, Benny Cunningham, 13 carries, 109 yards.
Yeah, you know,
this defense is the worst I've seen in probably the last 12 years.
Last week, the Ravens played the Bears, and you and I had this conversation.
Ray Rice had his best game of the season.
The Ravens came in with Ray Rice at 2.5 yards a carry, Bernard Pierce at 2.8 yards a carry, and the Bears have this historically horrible. And the thought was, one of these teams will mistakenly believe they've solved their problem. Either the Bears will shut down an inept running team, or the Ravens will run all over a lousy run defense, and they'll be like, okay, everything's fine now, but they'll both be wrong because they're both something had to give. Sure. As it turned out, oddly, although the Bears ended up winning the game, the Ray Rice looked like Ray Rice 3 years ago. He ran all over the Bears, and it was the Ravens who were mistakenly thinking that they were back because Ray Rice had 16 carries for 30 yards last week.
Yeah, I mean,
so the Bears, that shows you just how wretched the Bears run defense is.
It's awful. They take bad angles. They put support in the box, and yet they still can't shut down the run. You'll put 8 guys in the box, and they'll still have humongous holes. Chris Conte is a terrible safety. We're all coming around to that point. Julius Peppers is getting old. Shea McClellan and him combine 2 tackles.
But is it all just the Bears defense, or is that St. Louis offense who's put up 80 points in the last?
No, it has a lot to do with the Bears defense because, as Ben spoke about it, Ray Rice should not have 157 rushing yards. Julius Peppers should be better.
Benny Cunningham averaged 8.4 yards a carry. Zac Stacy, 7.3. Those guys ran the ball 25 times for 200 yards, basically, 196 yards. Even if you take out the 65-yard trick play, Tavon Austin touchdown, they still ran the ball freely. I didn't see much of that game, but I have the Bears in that Bears over for the season. So every time I'd see a little snippet of the game, and I'm like, okay, the Bears are back into it. 3 plays later, the Rams were at the Bear 14-yard line and scoring again.
I remember seeing what you tweeted, the snippet of the game you saw, when the Bears were on at the 3-yard line for maybe about 25 minutes.
Oh my God, they couldn't.
It was abysmal to watch.
And the play calling was just
terrible.
They were down 24-14 when they got there one time. By the way, you're down 24-14, kick a field goal. Be down 24-17, like you're trying to come back. But they went for it, and they got they kept getting chance after chance. They'd fail, but then pass interference to the end zone, and they get a new set of plays.
Pass interference, helmet to the chest was
and
another
then finally,
call.
They go for it from outside the 1, right? Which is not, I think you should always go for it when it's quarterback sneak material, which the Bears never did one time. Even when they needed an inch, they wouldn't do it. So then they go for it They go outside the 1, and they go to Michael Bush wide. And like Steve, I bet you didn't see it. And you know what happened? He lost 3 yards. He got the ball, somebody penetrated, boom, plays over.
He actually lost 4 yards.
Okay, sorry.
It was great because the stat line of Michael Bush was 2 carries, -7 yards.
1
long was -3.
I mean, it was such a bad call. It was such an unimaginative call. You can't run it from there when you can't run the ball like that. I mean, it's a little different if you have, if the Cowboys ran it with Emmitt Smith and all those weapons outside, maybe, but there was no deception on that play, nothing. It was miserable.
Okay, here's a play that I can't stand more than any other play in football, and I wish they would just ban it. It's a play where it's a tight formation. Everyone knows you're going to run it. Yep. They have a big but slow back. And
you're saying like Michael Bush?
Yeah, and then you give the ball to the back 7 yards deep.
Yeah, I know.
And then go get the yard.
Steve,
it's so
Ben has been making this play
unbelievable
for years now on this medium.
It's so frustrating.
Now you talked about the weapons. That's what frustrated me the most. And I'm not going to say that you were seeing me venting my frustration through something stupid called Twitter, but throw a fade route to Brandon Marshall. Throw a fade route to Alshon Jeffery. They've shown that they can go up over a guy who's half their size and catch the ball.
Play action. I know to do play action.
Anything.
First of all, you know what's never failed in the history of the NFL? The fucking bootleg. Ever. It's never not worked. It's worked every single time. If you got a quarterback who can sell it night, they turn around, they run, they go for the back. Oh, the quarterback has the ball. He walks in the end zone.
That would be nice.
There should be a 92% increase in bootlegs near the goal line for quarterbacks who can run at all.
Even Peyton
but it's
Manning
almost
had a bootleg
it's almost better if you can't run because they're positive you're not going to do it. So
well, here's the thing.
I just find it maddening.
Like if I were the quarterback, and I used to be a quarterback, I would refuse to run that play where you have the tight formation. Because if you have a spread formation, you can still run. Because the defense has to, defend everything.
Spread out.
If you have a smart quarterback and you do a bootleg, the guy can run it in himself. He can throw it. He can hand. I mean, there's so many more options.
Last point.
I think that maybe we'll see a change. The offenses have adapted a little bit, and I just imagine that now, like football from 1920 until yesterday, thought that you could stack 10 guys with the quarterback or 9 guys at the line, your quarterback and the running back, and that you can get that yard. I think it has a lot to do with what kind of team are we with nonsense tough guy shit. If we can't get a yard, we don't deserve to score the touchdown. Bill Walsh always thought, I don't give a shit whether we're tougher. I just want to score. And it's different. If you have a great running back, I understand it a little more. The Jaguars on an important play yesterday against the Texans went for it on 4th and goal from the 1.
You watched that game?
Well, I won it because I won King of the Hill. Hey, there you go. Because the Jaguars won that game. And they gave it to Maurice Jones-Drew. Like, at least that's a guy who you might want to give it to in that situation if you're going to do it. Giving it to Michael Bush when it looked like you were going to give it to Michael Bush, and then you did give it to Michael Bush. I mean, the Bears ran a zillion. They must have run 15 plays inside the 1.
Goal to go plays.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
8 goal to go plays.